Hey guys, this is Kevin from KCC Photography and KCCActions.com, and I am going to go over how I got this edit to look the way it did. This is pretty much straight out of the camera. I'll go back to the history, and basically I just cloned out a few things here just to make it look a little bit tighter from when we add our bokeh. So we're going to be working with the Bokeh Lovers action, and I'm really not going to do anything else except for this, and I will go ahead and get started. So because this action has a lot of things going on, basically it takes normally about 30 to 45 seconds depending on the speed of your computer and how much other things you have going on. Email programs running. If you have Lightroom, other stuff, it may slow it down just a little bit. But generally, it takes about 30 seconds to run, and that's just because it has filters on top of filters with reduction, and then added more filters and lots of stuff's going on. So, as it's running, I'll kind of talk to you about what we're going to do with it once it is complete. So we are actually going to stack two of these actions right on top of each other. These three are actually a part of the Bokeh Lovers collection. This one is called Butter Bokeh, and we will be adding a swirly butter to this image also. So this is just ran, and I will cut it off so you can see basically what it did. Kind of softened this whole area up, and that looks pretty good, but there's a little bit of cleanup that needs to be done. So we are going to start with the depth of field on the top, and that's pretty much this box right here straight across, if you can imagine a line dividing this picture in half, and the bottom, and then we have Make Butter, which is actually going to just increase this effect if we want to do that. You also have Contrast Pop, Color Pop, and Butter, and these things are on by default. You can turn them up or down if that's what you choose to do. Okay, let's get started. So basically, I'm going to just start on the top, and I'm going to grab a black brush at 100% opacity, and I'm just going to start by basically brushing this off of our subjects. And I'm going to start a little bit smaller here. Just trying to stay as clean as I can. It does not have to be absolutely perfect. You're not going to need to do any kind of like refine edge or anything like that. And you've seen that I kind of went down a little bit further just because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I don't know exactly what the cutoff is. This is very close to halfway. So I'm just going to draw this right around our subjects really quickly here. You can see that it is starting to sharpen them back up. And once we are done with that, we can hit the / key and just look over to see if we missed anything. And if you make some blatantly obvious mistakes in the mask, then this is a good time to fix it. So I'm just going to switch to black, and I'm just going to go down. Now, just because it's showing that we masked down here does not mean that there's anything going on down there, because there's not. That's just where we have just painted. So I'm just going to clean this up just a little bit. I'm not worried about all these little fine hairs. And like I said, this does not have to be spot on perfect with refine edge and all of those things like you would do in the composite. This is not a composite. Okay. So this looks pretty good, and I'll just clean this up. Really doesn't need it just because that's not a part, and then I'm just going to add just a little bit, whoops, right in this area. And that's it, kind of. Well, that's it for the top. So I can show you the mask. We just masked him in, or actually we masked him out. And then I'm going to come down here to the bottom, and the bottom is this section down here. So you can see his arm is a little bit blurred, and I'm going to erase that. And start working, and you can see these things are starting to sharpen up now. And we're going to treat this the same way we just did the front or the top, the background, and this is more or less the foreground. So we're just erasing this off, and we are going to actually make a focal line. And you can see these things right here are also out of focus. And I'm just going to clean that up just by creating a focal line just to give this a more realistic look. Okay, so we have initially painted the top off. Now we've painted the bottom off, and this is perfect. If you want to be real precise, you can actually just come right here, grabbing a black brush and switching to like 50% opacity, and just kind of feathering this out just a little bit more. You can't go wrong by going over them because they're already at 100%. So this just creates more of a fading feathering effect. Okay, so that's the start of what we're trying to do. You'll see that some of these colors change and stuff like that. That's okay. That's what these other actions or layers are built into this action for. I'm going to actually use Legacy, and we're going to tighten those back up just a little bit. And I just increased the contrast to 6%. So, okay. So, basically, we're going to stack another one on top of this. If you go into the history, you can see there is a after KCC Bokeh that is added whenever you run this action. So, we don't have to worry about going back later. We have a bookmark. So, I'm just going to hit Merge Visible, and it's going to flatten this down, just keeping all the changes. And then we are going to add the swirling butter action right on top. You could technically stop right here and this looks really good. It's definitely done a lot of work to the background and in the foreground, softening this up in all these areas. But we're going to push it a little bit further just so you can see what you can accomplish. And I actually normally use both of these on top of each other just because I like the effect. So immediately when it's done, I'm going to go ahead and start pulling this down on this particular image. It starts at 100% because some images that are closer up, you may be able to get by with 100% and it'll look good. I recommend starting low and then just kind of pumping your way back up. Okay, so this one works a little bit different. We are going to actually start at the top, and this is just a group layer mask that will mask anything in this layer. So I am just going to start painting away here with a black brush. And this one you're going to want to go down all the way. And all the way up to the top. Anywhere that you want to remove this. Now, a lot of people ask me, like, was this shot with a 200 millimeter? Does this work if you have only a 50 1.4 or the 85 1.8? And I'll tell you, this even works if you have the, I guess it's like $100 1.8 50. This is just basically kind of shooting a little bit shallow and then adding more to it just to make it look a lot more shallow. And I did not set my brush up to 100, so I'm going to have to kind of do this over. Sorry guys. Just want it to be clean so you can see exactly what is going on. The cool thing about using the layer mask guide is it will, if it's lighter, then you know obviously that you're not painting enough. But I normally do not keep mine on while I'm doing this. Just because I can just turn it on and kind of see the result at the end. Okay, so sorry about that. I had to repaint this because I did not have it set high enough. But anyway, get the idea. And we're actually going to do the same exact thing again with just grabbing our black brush and creating a focal line right across the plane right here. Okay, so that's what was taken out, and then I can just clean up this area. Oops, I need to go back to white because this is what we are adding. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to get as close as you can, because there are other things going on in you too. So that is actually close enough. Alright, so I'm just going to cut that off, and now you can see that we have added the second one. Now you can kind of play around with the sliders here, and like you have a cool as ice, that's going to kind of cool everything down. You can go up or down with this. I'm actually not going to use that for this one. I may add just a little bit more contrast just because I want it to really pop here in the background. And I want to keep them separate from the background by adding a little bit of contrast. Maybe that's a little bit too much if you like light and airy photos. The pop, and then you have your butter. And down here is where the magic actually happens. This is the layer that is kind of creating this look. And you can see I can actually soften this up a lot more if I decided to. I think default it's around 40%, and normally I keep it around 40 to 50%, and sometimes even as low as 30% depending on the situation. Alright, so that is the effect, and I'm going to go back to the beginning and kind of show you before and after. And you can play with all of these if you want to go a little bit less, if you really wanted to ramp this up. And then before and after. And if you look in this area through here, you're going to see that it's going to extend your depth of field. I don't even know exactly how many stops. I just guess once in a while. This was shot with the 135. Obviously, the 135 is going to get good compression, just like the 85 1.8 is going to get good compression. And depending on how close you are to your subject when you're shooting these kind of things. This was shot at 2.2 so that I could get all three of them pretty sharp and focused from probably about 12 to 15 feet away. Alright, so that is it. I'm not going to do the full edit. I could add some light. I could, pop the subject. There's lots of cool things I could do. This is just about the bokeh tonight. Alright, so if you have any questions, you can send them to kevin@kccphotography.net, or you can log on to kccactions.com, and there is a form that you can fill out to submit questions. And you can also check us out on Facebook, and that is facebook.com/kccphotography. Alright, thank you for watching, guys, and you guys have a great night.